Hi, everybody. Really good to be here. I'm Andrew Frater from dunnhumby, and I run the corporate systems team. Alongside me here is my colleague.
Hi, everyone. I'm Giorgio Ticinelli. I'm BI manager for corporate systems for dunnhumby.
Okay, so thanks for introducing yourself to Giorgio. So yes, as I said, I'm Andrew Frater. I'm the director of enterprise applications, we call it in dunnhumby, and BI. A wee bit about myself. I won't go into too many years about my experience because you can probably tell I've had significant years of experience. So my background over the many years has been primarily in finance, IT, and running ERP systems. And those ERP systems generally are finance, supply chain, HR, and CRM, etc. Over the last few decades, the companies I've been working for are companies like Dun & Bradstreet, Vodafone, Virgin Media, Fujitsu, and most recently, for 10 years, I've been with dunnhumby. So the 10 years at dunnhumby have been extremely interesting. We did a 3-year program probably 5 or 6 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, to implement new ERP systems, which this will be part of that story. In the last 5 years, after that implementation of those technologies, we've spent our time sort of optimizing the applications as well as the BI piece. Let me just tell you now a bit about dunnhumby itself. So about dunnhumby. So we're a big data company. We provision our services primarily to major retailers around the world. We take the consumer data from those companies, and we help them assess where they can improve sales. So basically, this is about engaging with our customers' customers to try and improve sales, to let the businesses understand their customers better. But we also, off the back of the data that we get from customers from our retailers, we work with CPGs, which are consumer product goods companies. These are the likes of Coca-Cola, Pepsi's, and all those companies. And what we do is we work with them, and we augment the data that we have for the retailers' consumers, and we can actually add value for these guys as well. That's more anonymized, so they don't get to see the data that's actually retail data, but they get data that's appropriate to them. So overall, again, a summary, dunnhumby is really about analyzing, using data science to help out retailers and CPGs across the globe. But a bit of underline now is the corporate systems component, which Giorgio and I are a component of. We are the corporate function, so we don't actually get involved in these applications ourselves or the delivery of the services to our end customers. If we just flick on to the next slide. So a bit of history really as to sort of nearly why we're here today. I guess I'll start by saying for the last 5 or 6 years, Oracle have come to me often and said, hey, look, it would be good if you could have a chat with the client base or your potential customers and tell us a bit of your journey. And interestingly, I've often sort of resisted that and sort of saying, I'm not really sure this is the time for me to be giving my view on the service and how we've deployed Oracle technology. This year, probably in the last 18 months or so, that's changed quite a bit. So part of the history or the journey that I'm about to tell you is around how I've gone from probably not even really wanting to sit in front of people like yourselves and tell my story to the point now where I feel quite confident that it's the right thing to do. So as I mentioned before, we in the last 5 to 7 years, we implemented new technology to remove our bespoke ERP applications. So we had HR systems running separately from our finance. Some were in-house, some were external, etc. So we spent quite a few years deploying those, and we went to market on some of that stuff around about December 2015. So some of the challenges we had back then was for some reason, the executives within dunnhumby thought that with all this money we were spending on a software as a service solution, and again, those solutions were our finance systems, CRM systems, and HCM systems, there was some sort of reasoning that because they're software as a service, we won't need anyone to do supporting of these because they will run themselves. So that was an interesting start 4 or 5 years ago. But what that did to me was very late in the deployment of the solution, the management came and said, "Oh, look, we've realised we actually do need some support in this area. Andrew, you need to build your team up to get cracking on this." So, not to underestimate it, I sort of knew that was sort of coming anyway. But it did start us back in 2015 with very, very, very small teams. So I think I had about 8 or 9 members of my team running all this technology way back then. And I knew that that's not going to be tenable, because it's just such a behemoth of applications. So what my process was about doing was deploying some techniques which would help us overcome some of those issues we'd have with small teams. One of the disciplines that we wanted to put in place was what we were calling, what I implemented as a global process owner concept. So a GPO process owner was the ability for me as a corporate systems manager, to take away the need for my team to do the analysis of how a business process should operate, how we should be best using this technology, and allowing my team to deploy with the business those technologies that the business or the global process owner would help us implement. The other thing we realized would help being a small team until we got to a certain size, or the right thing to do, was democratization. So when I say democratization, it's a pretty common word nowadays in IT. This is not about everyone going off and doing their IT, but it's allowing me and my team to technically allow the business to do a lot of the stuff that they would generally and traditionally come back and ask my team to do. Because as I say, the team wasn't huge, and we needed some way of allowing more capacity within the company to deliver the benefit from the systems. We did have some challenges. We had some really big challenges. The native reporting tools, this is for me more about BI than the applications themselves. The native reporting tools that were given to us with the solution gave us a pretty bad experience. They were very, very expensive to run, because one, I had to find some specialists externally who could operate these systems, and there weren't that many around in the marketplace, to be fair. So I was spending a lot of money on contract resourcing, even just to do the most simple of transactional reporting out of our ERP systems. The data warehouse technology that came with it, and I won't go into names of software or anything like that, but the data warehouse technology that came with us wasn't very flexible for us. It had been around for quite some time, so it wasn't exactly brand new, but it had been around for a long time, but I don't think it was really built to support the new Oracle cloud applications that we had actually just deployed. And again, we had to deploy very, very expensive specialists to try and resource getting any capability out of that product. But partly we had a big problem because the two technologies were quite different. So our ERP applications were sitting as cloud applications, but the BI, or the warehouse data and applications, was sitting as a managed cloud service by Oracle. So in one way, I had sort of two suppliers, and we had to try and work out how these guys could operate. And the operation was very, very difficult, to be fair. We would upgrade our applications on a regular basis. Initially, it was once a year. We're doing this now once every 3 months. But every time we upgraded our application, because it wasn't inherently integrated into the BI technology, nearly 100% without doubt, it would break. Something would break. And we spent 2 or 3 years continually working out how do we keep this thing robust. So some of the other problems we had are we implemented the GPO process. We got agreement that GPOs would be the way to do it. My vision would be that a GPO would be pretty much dedicated to the global processes that they owned. As it turned out, senior management decided that the GPO component would be a component of someone's job. It wouldn't be a part of their job description. It would be something they do as day to day. And the problem with that is that the GPOs ended up focusing on their day job, and the engagement we got to have subject matter experts and global process owners helping us define, or helping the business define, what they needed from the BI. It didn't really work. We had big problems. Recently, that's sort of been solved somewhat, because we have been able to democratize, but I'll leave that for Giorgio. So look, with all these problems that we felt like we're having, it was too expensive, it broke all the time. I'll say it wasn't fit for purpose for us. And we had continual conversations with the Oracle Managed Cloud Services people, the Oracle Cloud Applications people, to see if we could find a way out of this. So the strategies, or I guess strategies, the terminology I use here, we needed a BI tool that basically was fast, easy to use, and became relevant to the business. Yeah. What we had was a tool that was hard to use, it wasn't fast, and we couldn't get any relevance to the business because we couldn't actually get them engaged. Yeah. So our challenge to Oracle was, hey guys, we need something that can fit those 3 criteria. And if we can do that, then we're on a win. Yeah. And in actual fact, it got so bad that one of my 2 key objectives in 2002 was I will need to go to Oracle and I will have to challenge them to come up with something that's going to help us get where we need to be. Else we were going to have a change in technology, because what we had just really wasn't working. So Giorgio will tell you a bit of the story about that journey, because for me, it's been a fantastic journey, and that's again why I'm here now today, which normally I would not be standing in front of you. One of the things that I should point out here, because it's, I guess, slightly tactical but strategic, is we didn't have too much of a legacy, because the technology we had in the past was very, very difficult to implement. It was very difficult to use. We didn't actually get to build a huge amount. So when we did come to have some discussions around new technology, we didn't have many barriers to changing technology, like, oh, we've got lots of migrations to do, we've got new tech to demise and everything else. So we were very lucky when I had to build the business case with Giorgio and some of my other peers around, look, we really want to get some technology changes in here. The business case nearly spoke for itself, because we didn't have this huge IT legacy that we had to decommission, etc. So look, that's a bit of the story. I really could go on for hours on this, because it's been a fantastic journey for me. It's been fun, albeit very difficult, but it has been good. I could go on for many times, but look, at this point in time, look, again, thank you. I'm really glad we're here, and I'm going to hand over to Giorgio to do the rest of the presentation. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you. So I introduce quickly myself. I have 23 years of experience. My background is mainly with BI and data warehousing. I have used most of the common BI tools that are available in the market. Now it's 10 years that I work for dunnhumby. For 7 years, I worked for our clients, and I have used various tools. In the last 3.5 years, I'm working as a BI manager with Andrew. Andrew is my manager for corporate systems. And of course, we work for our internal customers. So the target is different. So just to help our audience to understand maybe a bit more about the tools that we used in the past and the tool that we have been able to use in the recent period where we could take advantage of the latest technology, I wanted to explain a bit more about the reporting tools. So Andrew mentioned that we struggle a bit with native reporting tools available in Oracle Cloud, which were heavily used for operational reporting, but also for analytic reporting, which was not really their job. So in this case, we talk about Oracle Transactional Business Intelligence, which is TBI, and BIP, BI Publisher. These tools are on top of the cloud suite. It's not data warehouse based. It's not analytics. Okay. OBI-A, that was another tool, which was the design analytics BI tool, but for some reasons it was not flexible and not very user friendly. So we struggled with this tool. In 2020, we bought OAC and ADW, and later on we bought FAW. Our main focus areas were mainly sales, where our users created a custom solution built with desktop tools that required a more modern interface and system, basically. We wanted to deliver good finance reporting, which was not only Excel or operational reporting. And on HCM, we wanted to expand the usage of BI by managers, because they were using anyway quite well OTBI. So to start with our first challenge, when I started back in 2019 with Andrew, the sales team were using BI desktop tools, desktop database to basically create some custom solution, extracting data out of the Oracle Cloud and building their own solution, which was very manual and required a lot of time to be prepared, but also to be consumed. So that there was time needed both on the, let's say, administration side, but also on the user side. So it was clear that they needed a more modern analytic environment and reliable and secure access to the enterprise data. You can find the story here in the Oracle blogs. And so what happened is that in 2019, I started, and this was the first challenge. And we understood that OBIA at the time was not really fitting well with this kind of needs. And we started conversation with the Oracle team to upgrade our stack to the new technology, OAC and ADW. OAC, Oracle Analytics Cloud, is an analytic platform that allow users to create their own dashboards, and you can also perform advanced analytics like, I don't know, machine learning. Autonomous database, or actually in our case, autonomous data warehouse, ADW, is a cloud-based database which works very well with OEC. And we have both, and they work very well together. So in 2020, in February in particular, we met some analytics leaders in London for the Analytics Summit, and we decided to buy OAC. So the software has been provisioned in June. We started to work very rapidly on that solution, and we've been able to deliver our first project, that was this sales example, in really few months. Just to give you an overview or an example so you can understand better, this is the look and feel of one of our reports created with OEC. It's very clean. Users didn't really need also to get any training for this, so they can interact and consume this content very easily on a browser. Okay? So they don't need to install anything. So what happens next is that this technology, OEC and ADW, can be used also by Oracle to create a data warehouse, a pre-built data warehouse, and a set of dashboards on top of Oracle Cloud. So all the clients like dunnhumby we are using Oracle Cloud, especially for ERP and HCM in our case. We have both basically this solution called Fusion Analytics Warehouse, which is an application that Oracle created using their own technology, OAC and ADW. So the advantage is that basically you can have a predefined data warehouse with the so-called subject areas, for example, I don't know, accounts receivable, accounts payable, procurement, and so on, where you don't really need to create anything from scratch because it's coming from Oracle. And in particular for us, as I mentioned, we have ERP analytics, so basically all the finance, and HCM analytics. So this is an example of an FAW dashboard, which is using the same OAC technology, but of course the data that you see on the screen is coming from the data warehouse built by Oracle on top of our Oracle Cloud instance. So, and again, this is very intuitive, and the look and feel is very good. So to complete our journey, as I mentioned, in December, we've been able to deliver the first project with OEC that we started in June. So we've been able to move away from OBIA quite rapidly. And given the success of this project, we realized that a solution like FAW could speed up processes more and faster. Okay, so we bought FAW in December. As of now, we are expanding the usage of FAW. So as Andrew mentioned, democratization is a very popular word. We have engaged with many users in the finance in particular, and we are delivering already some dashboards and custom solutions for them, along with, of course, with the out of the box. So this is a bit more technical, but I will explain very clearly. So OAC and FAW are two separate environments, and the data source for FAW is mainly Oracle Cloud Fusion. And for OAC, it's coming from many different sources that can be custom or can be anyway Fusion. We do some custom transformations with ODI or OAC data flows in case of OAC and ADW. And we manage a custom metadata layer, which is called RPD, and we create dashboards for our users. On FAW, this design is simpler because this customization layer is managed mainly by Oracle, even if, of course, we can customize. We can use some wizards called semantic layer extensions to create our own content and extend the pre-built data warehouse. How we are maximizing the investment on FAW. So given that we don't have to build from scratch and Oracle is managing the data pipeline, our users can start very rapidly to take advantage of the content that Oracle is providing. So I don't know, accounts receivable users, accounts payable users, or procurement users, they can easily create a report from scratch, just pointing to the right subject area. As I mentioned, we can take advantage, of course, of data augmentation and semantic layer extension if we want to expand the standard solution from Oracle. The look and feel is, of course, very attractive, as you have seen in other slides. And this is very important because our users like a clean interface, so they tend to prefer FAW versus the operational tools. Just a quick overview in terms of projects. We've been able to create some exact dashboards, like a CFO dashboard, that combines finance and HCM KPIs. For example, we have people costs or travel costs under control. We have a P&L by business unit, region, cost center. We have procurement dashboards that help on keeping costs under control, or we have some purchase order report, particularly for the CIO organization. On HCM, we've been able to engage with in particular with the super user who is very keen to create content. And he's trying to replace also the operational report with FAW. We are working on other examples. In particular, one is retention analysis that we have. We've created a solution with the help of Oracle. It's a pilot, so we have used the machine learning to analyze basically retention analysis for dunnhumby. There is also the possibility to integrate FAW content with external systems. In our case, we are trying to do this with learning and development external system, which is not Oracle. So to recap very in a clear way, the solution that, of course, we were looking for in the old days is now there, and we have a software which is cutting-edge technology powered by Oracle. It's pure cloud technology, so there's no need to install anything. You don't need to transfer manually anything. And of course, you can schedule, so our APAC teams can see the data early in the morning. Security is also very important because there is, of course, an out-of-the-box configuration, but you can also enhance this with custom row-level security. If we want to maybe go a bit deeper, I like a lot OAC because and FAW, of course, because it gives control. It provides control to administrators, so we can control the metadata layer. We can try to create a single version of the truth, and we can also manage our users, okay, through many consoles. Of course, we have some internal policies in terms of responsibilities. So BI team is responsible for delivering what is official, okay, and sign off. We have also power users that can prototype, they can create self-service content, but of course, we want to be responsible for what is promoted in production. Our users like the interface because it's very intuitive. There's no need for training. Nobody wanted to learn a BI tool. They just want to consume the data. They want to do their job better using our tool. They don't want to become BI developers. The user base is more than 250 users on OAC, and we have more or less the same number on FAW. What we have learned, it's been, as Andrew mentioned, of course, it's been always important to be in touch with Oracle. We had good engagement with, especially with this journey for OEC and FAW. FAW is not just pure technology, as probably you have understood. It's an application because it's using the OEC technology, but there is a data model, there is a data warehouse, which is, of course, more complicated to manage. It's very important to have good engagement with the business and senior managers. So the GPOs that Andrew mentioned at the beginning, when we started the FAW project, we had to re-engage with them. Now, of course, it's been easier to engage them because the tool is much better. But anyway, we need to be able to provide justifications so they can dedicate time on this because they see value, they see a return for them. Data must be correct, of course. So FAW is evolving very rapidly. And every 3 months there is a new release and they add new subject areas. Sometimes there can be discrepancies. So what we have learned is that before committing to some timelines, it's better to double check that the data is really correct. And after that we can share, of course, with the business. So this is very important. The business benefits that we've got, of course, initially we saved some people time because we could remove the manual work, and it's always faster to deliver this type of reports with the FAW and OEC because the data is already there more or less, so you can create your reports easily. As I mentioned, we have already some reports that can help on identifying cost savings, so we can spot gaps and opportunities. Our employees like the tools, so they are more engaged, and the more they use these tools, the more they can improve the efficiencies in dunnhumby and improve processes. The last point is really looking at the future. So what we want to do next, we want to consolidate our OEC projects, taking advantage of the new analytics features, and machine learning is an example. On FAW, we want to, let's say, complete the rollout to all managers, finance users, and call center managers. So we want these BI democratizations. And we want also to remove all non-necessary real-time OTBI reports with analytic reports. So sometimes we have used operational, even if that was not really needed, just because it was the only tool that we had at the beginning. We need to keep having strong engagement with Oracle because we noticed that it's very important if we want to evolve products. They listen to our feedback, and we also understand better if we have good engagement with them, what to do next, how we can maximize the investment on these products. The final goal is really to have one single environment, so OEC and FAW. As of now, they are two separate environments. It will be nice to have a single point of access. Having said that, I hope that you have found interesting. I'd like to thanks again Oracle, Andrew, and everybody that is listening. Thanks.